kit designed for the colours for this year, and so some lucky fan got his chosen now. Looks like it's a pretty good stop.
Yeah, a little bit of a problem, I would say, in the left rear, but pretty much also getting him in and out. A reasonable pit stop, I think. Malaysia will be not too unhappy about it. They had a 6.5 second advantage over New Zealand, who have yet to make their second stop. And Australia
and Lebanon behind them as well, so two key teams coming into the pits for their second pit stop. Watch Australia, we know how quick they can be. Let's see if they can make it as fast with the new car. Oh, that looked good, John.
Yeah, that's going to consolidate that 5th place for John Martin, because the Lebanon car still, it's actually coming down the pit lane, but good pit stop from both teams. Lebanon should be pleased with that.
Lebanon's got ahead though.
Where did that, whose car was that further down the pit lane?
That was somebody else. Lebanon has just managed to ease ahead. Netherlands is in.
Another steering wheel change and a bit of a visor wipe for Netherlands. So that Lebanon car was ahead of the Australia car in the pit lane, so that's given them the opportunity to get ahead. The car that was behind, what we thought was Lebanon, clearly wasn't.
That was a great stop by Lebanon then, and this time it's a smoother stop for Team Netherlands. So Jeroen Bleekemolen's on his way. France have stayed out, as they did on that first round of stops.
Continue to stay out as well. Another lap in the books on this second set of tyres. But France shortly going to get ready to make their pit stop.
Yeah, it looks like it might be next time around, doesn't it? Again, it's that flick into the first corner where he turns in hard. Now, take a look back at Australia. This was the battle. Oh, he had a problem getting going. Or was he simply allowed? No, I think he had a problem actually getting the thing up to speed, and they ended up going out side by side. Now, I'm sure that will be looked at.
Well, I think the Lebanon car was on what they call the racetrack on the left-hand side, and I think technically the car that's on the inside, we saw what happened in Mexico with Switzerland when they got caught by that and were penalised. But the advantage went to Lebanon, so I suspect it'll be let it go. The advantage to Lebanon will remain.
Now, New Zealand in from 3rd place, effectively. Let's see how this one goes. Earl Bamber's doing an outstanding job for a young man, and he's on his way. Good stop from that crew. Yes. And you just saw Malaysia turning into the first corner as New Zealand rejoins.
Well, Malaysia had a good pit stop. New Zealand have had a good pit stop. So really, as I mentioned before, I suspect it's going to be status quo. But watch. See, there's what happens on a brand new set of tyres. They aren't up to running temperature. Even though they've got those nice sharp edges that a new set of race tyres, wet tyre, the weather tyres have got, it is very easy to get caught out just simply because the temperature is not as high as the set that you've taken off.
Absolutely, and there's that very tricky river of water running at that section as well, which has caught out a few cars already here today, and so all of them have got to be a bit careful at that right-hander, Gerlach-Bocht, as they turn into it. France getting ready then for their pit stop, and it needs to be smooth. It doesn't need to be the fastest pit stop we've seen, but they've got a little bit of an advantage over Malaysia before these stops were made. But Malaysia, of course, will be pushing hard now to try and close that gap up. Is he in? Yes, he's cutting across, I think, in the gloom. Into the pit lane he comes.
I wasn't quite certain, but it was a very late cut, and he used the maximum he could coming off turn 16, and then came in at the last opportunity, got the speed down in the pit lane, running down 80 kilometers per hour, and pulls up. Nice clear entry, and probably equally clear. So the French team go to work, and there is the Malaysia car coming out of turn 13 into turn 14, and I would say the advantage has once again gone to France. They stayed out that little bit longer, and we now see what's happening in turn 15, and France have completed their work and on their way, and it's France will retain the lead.
Yep.
By even, I think, an extended margin.
Yeah, by the whole length at the start-finish straight, by the looks of things, because Malaysia's just coming out of the final corner.
The only issue for France is they've come out directly behind the Team USA entry. Now they're going to be, in effect, well, USA is actually showing now as running second. So, in fact, they may well be shown as leading the race. But good job from Team France. The guys are very happy indeed. But running behind the Team USA car, they have only a number of laps before USA will make it pit stop. But France will want to get ahead of USA as quickly as possible. Otherwise, he will lose his momentum, and consequently, that will allow Malaysia to catch up. You can see just how much he's fallen behind that USA car already. There's Malaysia coming along, what will be in effect in second place in a couple of laps' time.
Yeah, but they lost out there once again, Malaysia, because he was definitely, the gap was down to 5 seconds, wasn't it, if you remember, before they started making those pit stops, and the gap is a great deal bigger than that. This time around, it looks as though it's up to about 8 seconds, I would say. So that's something to watch out for.
Team Australia under investigation.
Right.
And that again is for that incident where we saw Lebanon and Australia leaving the pit lane side by side. Wait to see. I mean, I feel that there's no advantage or disadvantage to either team, and it'll be investigated. Hopefully, action will be taken.
So Duval, can he keep it together for the remaining 11 laps of this race to take a victory at the first event of this fourth season for Team France, the team that has won more individual races than any other in the history of A1GP. Winners, of course, in the first season of the entire series, and they've struggled to challenge for the title quite as effectively since that first year, but they still have more wins than any other nation. Across the line he comes. We'll get an idea on that gap. Malaysia just coming through the final corner. Australia there, Alan Jones. And of course he's talking about that pit, what happened in the pit lane. That's why they know they're under investigation. So they're discussing the situation and wondering how it's going to be dealt with by the stewards. Meanwhile, Lebanon and Australia are close to one another on track. Yeah,
I mean, it's going to be sorted out on track unless the stewards get a hand in it, and they may decide to apportion blame, and a penalty could be awarded to Australia. Cars are not allowed to go out side by side. That precedent was established very clearly in Mexico last year with Switzerland.
So confirmation of that investigation going on. But Daniel Morad for Lebanon driving very good stuff at the moment. He's in 5th place, and after one or two little incidents, and he had that moment where he did a complete 360. He's brave though, isn't he? You know, even when he has a moment, it doesn't stop him pushing and driving hard.
Let's look again and see. There's the Lebanon car coming behind, and it's as if the Australia car sort of bogs down, and Australia tried to force the issue, but the momentum and the right in this issue clearly are on the side of Lebanon. And well, did he pinch? I think they might have had contact actually. It was very faint contact, so it might be because of that. Alan Jones will stand and argue his corner. Not very happy.
And
USA
off. Charlie Kimball is off. Oh, can you believe it? When it looked as though they were going to get a solid point-scoring result, they had left it late. He just set a quick lap there. Previous lap was a good one, John, and he was going well, but those tyres obviously had a few more laps on them. He's shaking his head. He can't believe it.
It wasn't just a good one, it was the quickest one of the race.
Wow.
1:47, 1:16. Michael Andretti looks at the screen. He's seeing the pictures that you're seeing back at home. Charlie Kimball having just set the fastest race lap of anybody, and then throws it into the gravel trap, and it's all over for Team USA. What disappointment.
Oh, he can't believe it. You have to feel he's such a likeable young man, so enthusiastic, a man who was diagnosed with diabetes a couple of years ago, had to stop racing for a while, but got it all sorted out. He monitors his blood sugar levels. Even during the races he can monitor it. He's got an implant that allows him to do that, and so it's fully sorted. But what happened here? Let's take a look, John.
Yes, again the same thing. That quick exit out of turn 7, and look at the speed of the car. I mean, really, very fortunate. That's a steeply cambered gravel trap, and that brought the car to a standstill. But again, that corner 7 catching out 3 drivers, 2 in big-time accidents for Michael Andretti and for Team USA. Little damage to the car, but damage to their pride. They thought they were clearly on for a good points haul here this afternoon in the feature race.
These conditions are extremely tough, but he'll be kicking himself for that one. It is turning into a timed race now, John, as you mentioned earlier. No way we can go the full 40 laps in these conditions, and the slower pace, and of course with safety car having been out there. So we now have just under 7 minutes plus a lap to remain in this race, and it's looking good for France with a 7-second advantage over Malaysia and maintaining a quick pace. New Zealand still running in a very strong 3rd. And Lebanon in 4th, but Australia not far behind.
No, and there we go back to this battle, whether it actually is a battle in real terms, while the stewards investigate that incident at the exit of the pit lane between Australia and Lebanon. John Martin, he'll be in there racing. He knows he sees a car ahead of him. He will be advised to race that car as we go back to Clivio Piccioni or Monte Carlo there all the way down. Well, they're in 6th place. They've got points, first points, potential points for Monaco, another new entrant into A1GP and picking up points at the first event.
Absolutely right, yes they are, and indeed the cars that are a couple of laps down are also with a prospect of scoring points, and that means that China could score some points, and would you believe it, Korea could score a point here today because they're still running and they're in 10th position, and points pay down to 10th place in the feature race.
Well, races in these conditions are really what you describe as a punter's race. You take the wildest odds you can get on the most unlikely outcomes, and those are the under control and out of control. Oh,
it's Lebanon. Lebanon has hit China on the main straight, and it's taken both cars out. Would you imagine it?
That is a very heavy shunt for the Lebanese car, pretty much losing no speed at all and going into that tower.